Hello, and welcome to the Business Council of Westchester Member Spotlight. I am Linda Tyler and your host today. The BCW is the county's largest and most influential business membership organization, offering over 100 events, programs, and panel discussions yearly. I'd like to thank our sponsor today, Tompkins Community Bank. Tompkins Community Bank is proud to support the Business Council of Westchester. For generations, Tompkins has helped the communities we serve thrive and grow. As a community-based financial institution, we consider it our duty to provide innovative financial solutions for local families and businesses as they navigate their financial journeys. At Tompkins, you don't have to choose between business as usual. Instead, choose business accomplished and business accelerated with cash management solutions that help you manage your growing business. Tompkins, your bank of choice. Today, we're joined by three incredible leaders who are making a meaningful impact on health and wellness here in our community. Kelly Keck, co-founder of Pleasantville Wellness Group and Sound Mind Collective, and Gina Capelli and Maria Trusa, managing partners of Femme Parlor and Forme. Welcome, ladies. I'm delighted to speak with the three of you today and to explore the exciting and innovative programs and treatments your companies have to offer. Let's start with Maria and Gina. Tell us about Forme and Femme Parlor. Tell us about what your businesses offer and what you're doing.
So, as you know, we were the founders of Forme Medical Center,
yes,
which cares for the underserved community as well and brings many different specialties to the underserved community. And what we realized is that there's not a lot of attention on women's health. So what we did was we spun off a new company called Femme Parlor, and that handles women's intimate health. As we enter perimenopause, menopause, after childbearing years, our body changes, right? We lose our hormones. We lose those important hormones. And what happens? Where are the answers? You know, a lot of the times it's a silent, I don't want to call it an epidemic, but it's a silent, what's the word, Maria?
Pandemic. It's a silent pandemic.
Because we suffer.
And we don't talk about it, and there is shame in it.
That's right.
So we keep ourselves silent, and there's shame in our body changing, but it is the change that if we're blessed enough to get to the age of premenopause or menopause, we get to experience. So it's actually, I know we look at it as a period. It's almost like there's so much darkness in this period, but there's actually a lot of light if we are able to get treatments that can help us.
And we have treatments. The truth is that there's been so much talk about menopause and, oh my God, you're going to experience this and this is going to happen and this is going to happen, but nobody's talking about what you can do when it happens.
Well, isn't that so true? You don't suffer through it. And I think to your point about that point in our lives, it's where you actually, I think, because my kids are grown now, you reach that point in your life and you're going through perimenopause or menopause, but there's also a certain level of freedom. You know,
yes.
Your children are grown.
Mm-hmm.
You can start thinking about what you want to do, where you're focusing a little bit more on yourself. So there's a light there too. There's an exciting piece of it too.
In China, Linda, they call it the second spring.
Oh, I love that.
And that's how I view it as well. But, there's realistically, our body is changing and there are a lot of symptoms that are extremely uncomfortable.
1,000% and should be addressed. No suffering through it silently. And we're going to touch upon that in a moment. I'm going to pivot now over to Kelly to talk about Pleasantville Wellness Group and the services you offer, because we have both the physical and the mental piece of our lives. And that's where I think true happiness kind of is aligned, right? When both are addressed. So talk a little bit about what you are offering through Pleasantville Wellness Group.
Sure. At Pleasantville Wellness Group and Sound Mind Collective, we're a group psychotherapy practice. So we treat predominantly children in Pleasantville, and then we started treating the family as a whole because we found that the child would come in as the identified patient, but usually there's stuff happening with the family there as well as the parents. So we now offer couples therapy, family therapy, and dedicated child therapy. Depending on what's happening for the child could be very different. So play therapy, art therapy, focused on learning disabilities or spectrum needs. So we do a little bit of everything. We've kind of met the community where it's at and then adapted.
I love it. There's a very holistic approach to what you're doing, because if one piece of the family unit is not working, then, everybody kind of pulls together to address that. So this is terrific. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Maria and Gina, let's talk about Femme Parlor and what makes it different from traditional medical practices or med spas that offer similar services. What makes what you're doing unique?
So at Femme Parlor, we concentrate on the inside out, right? So when you go to a doctor, you're going to get your antibiotics and you're going to, manage your diabetes. And at a med spa, they're looking more for aesthetics, right? We're trying to help you from the inside out, because that's where the issues start, right? Whether it's incontinence or, once you start losing your estrogen, progesterone, and your testosterone, sex doesn't become comfortable anymore. You lose that libido, your hot flashes and your depression, it's perfect. The depression comes into play in the brain fog. All of these things happen to us inside. And we're trying to, at Femme Parlor, we're able to bring the procedures to slow them down or to actually stop the symptoms.
And also, I think what you're doing, which is terrific, is you're talking about it too.
Yes.
Let's be really open and honest about what you're suffering from or what you're dealing with, and then address it. Isn't that fair to say? There's a big conversational piece to it.
Linda. One of the things that I love, especially about Gina, I mean, her and I have gone through our experiences together. We've together 11 years. It's going to be, and we have always been very authentic. And I think one of the beauty about our relationship is that it is a real authentic relationship, but it's not just us. We are authentic into the world because we talk about our own experiences. I talk about, what my struggles have been when I went into menopause, and I have procedures in our facility. We've tried everything because we are not going to promote and bring patients here when we don't think, we don't know if it really works.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. And you know what else is interesting about both of you? You both are friends. You are business partners. You each have business partners that are very good friends. So I think that's really unique and interesting. We're going to go off topic here a little bit, but tell us about what's really great about that and what can sometimes be tricky. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Being like very close friends with your business partner, so you have two different elements of the relationship?
I'd say probably not knowing when to turn it off. So even if we're hanging out socially, sometimes we end up devolving into a conversation about work, and that can take over. So I think we have to be really clear about this is a social engagement.
Boundaries.
And when we have to talk about work, we'll talk about work on Monday morning. Let's enjoy our kids or our social life.
Fair enough. That's a good point. What about the two of you?
Oh, we've had fun. We've struggled with Form A, just financially, because insurance companies hurt you. And Maria and I laughed and enjoyed each other through the whole thing. And we have very different roles. Maria handles the front end of the business and I'm the back end of the business. So that works too. But we talk to each other about everything. Like, we don't make decisions without each other.
That's a good point.
And it's really important to know, and I love, the best thing about this is that when I'm feeling like defeated, I come in and look at her. She's like, no, it's going to be great. And then all of a sudden she lifts me back up and I do the same for her. And that's what's really important, to have somebody that's there no matter what.
Yeah.
I love it.
And we have been together for 11 years. So we have definitely gone through a growing experience together. And what we've gotten to the place now, we like to hang out together. So I go to Gina's house, we go to restaurants, and we're always planning something together. But when we are together, we're just having fun.
Yeah.
It's like this journey, especially Gina and I are over 60, and we're like, we have to enjoy life. I mean, when we hit 60, both of us, we're like, this is just another opportunity to really squeeze as much as we can out of our lives together. And we need to make sure that fun is part of it every day.
I love that. And you're absolutely right. 1,000%. Kelly, you've successfully built 2 mental health group practices. What motivated you to grow beyond a solo practice and step into business ownership? Because as we were talking before the podcast started, that's an entrepreneurship and small business ownership is a whole new endeavor, which is exciting and scary and everything in between. It
is, both of those, very much so. What probably prompted it is my personal practice was getting very full, and I didn't have any space left, and I didn't know any therapists to refer people to. And it's really sad to talk to people on the phone that don't have an option and that you don't have an option to give them. So it felt like there was a space in the community that we could fill. And Heemsta and I, my business partner, both felt passionately that we didn't want to leave people high and dry that were looking for services and couldn't find them. But we opened 5 years ago, so it was peak COVID and when people were very much struggling. But still now, people call every day and there are drastic wait lists for testing for their children or for good couples therapy. They want things in person now, and everyone has moved to telehealth. So that's been really difficult. So we saw a need in the community and we worked to fill that. And we have steadily grown over the last 5 years to be able to offer that need depending on what each person comes in for.
You know, I read somewhere, and I think this is so true about business ownership, is a part of the success is seeing a need. It can be anything, and then filling it, figuring out how do you fill it. And that's what you were doing here. And I want to remind, before we go further, to our listeners, it's important to emphasize that women and men do not have to struggle or live with either physical or mental health symptoms that impact their daily lives. And that's what you're addressing here, both of you. Yeah. Both of your organizations offer cutting-edge, science-based, and effective treatments that greatly improve the quality of life. And that's what this is about, right? Quality of life. Maria and Gina, let's talk a little bit about accessibility, how it's central to your mission. How are you ensuring women from all socioeconomic backgrounds have access to your services? Do you want to talk about that for a minute?
So when it comes to HRT, which is something that
hormone replacement
therapy. Yeah, thank you. You know, we have all those, what do they call them? Acronym. Mm-hmm. And so HRT is something that is definitely covered by insurance. And that is the beginning. Like women that are going through premenopause, they should come and not be afraid. The insurance covers the hormone replacement therapy that we offer at Form A Medical Center and Urgent Care. And for the other services, we have 2 different sites. And we are, trying to do everything we can to make it affordable as you can, because realistically, we are in cutting edge procedures that require a major investment on our part. So it is important that if we have a mission, the mission, if it's not successful, then we don't have a mission.
Yeah, but we also offer care credit, for example. So somebody could pay over 12 months with no interest.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So you're really coming up with options. And I also love what you said. You yourselves are trying the procedures and the services so that you can talk with patients and literally tell them what your experiences have been and how you've responded. And you I think that is really key.
I suffered for years, Linda. I suffered for years. And then with that false report saying that HRT causes breast cancer, nobody touched it. And so for 15 years in menopause, I didn't do anything. And so I got to a point where I was bad. I wasn't having sex. I had a brain fog. I don't sleep. I had all these different issues.
Hot flashes.
Hot flashes, on, off, covers on, off. But it's, but the truth is that today, they proved that report was wrong. And now this is when you start perimenopause, you start seeing those symptoms, you need to start on HRT.
So that's the message. Is talk to your doctor, have the conversation, and then go from there. Absolutely.
Yeah. And when you say talk to your doctor, so we need to be persistent and we need to advocate for ourselves, because a lot of the gynecologists, it's almost like, this is just part of life. These are the symptoms. So if your provider is not providing the HRT services, then go get a second opinion. It's and that's what I would encourage women, because we believe, like our physicians, it's almost like there's the God complex that we believe what they tell us, it's the truth.
Valid point. If you don't feel like you're getting the full story, or maybe you want, like you said, a second opinion or another viewpoint, that's true for anything, really, truly. I don't care if you're getting a knee replacement or HRT therapy, or I don't know, you have whatever it may be. A second opinion is always a really valid.
Can I share one thing?
Sure.
I had a young lady who finished breast cancer treatments, and she she met me and she's like, I love what you're doing. She goes, I'm going to get divorced because I can't have sex. And I was like, you're not going to get divorced. We can help you. Do you know she went to her GYN and her GYN said, don't do it. And meanwhile, it's not estrogen driven, this procedure that we do. It's non-invasive. It's ridiculous. And because the gynecologist didn't know enough about it, she suggested to her that she shouldn't do it. Now, this young lady has been suffering still suffering.
And that procedure is drawing your blood, and you have platelet-rich plasma that we use to do the procedure. And maybe you should explain that one because I think it's important.
We're going to hit a break, and
Okay.
we'll come back and we'll touch upon that. Tompkins Community Bank is proud to support the Business Council of Westchester. For generations, Tompkins has helped the communities we serve thrive and grow. As a community-based financial institution, we consider it our duty to provide innovative financial solutions for local families and businesses as they navigate their financial journeys. At Tompkins, you don't have to choose between business as usual. Instead, choose business accomplished and business accelerated with cash management solutions that help you manage your growing business. Tompkins, your bank of choice. Welcome back. We're very excited to continue our conversation about physical, mental health, the holistic approach, and what you can do to advocate for yourself. Mental health, Kelly, is both a service and a business. What have been some of the biggest challenges and biggest surprises for you in terms of running and growing a business? And this is really something all three of you should address. Let's talk a little bit for a minute about that.
Yeah, I think we probably went in with a little bit of a fantastical idea about wanting to serve a population and knowing that we have to pay ourselves and our clinicians. So it was the disparity between how do we charge for services that feel like it is affordable to the client, but also respecting and covering our overhead and what we have to do in our practice. So I think it took probably a year or two for Heemson and I to level out how we served both needs that left everyone feeling supported and also brought in the caliber of clinician that we really wanted to be able to offer the service.
So it really is a bit of a balance and figuring out, as you said, meeting all of those needs. Running a business, there are many factors that you have to consider. And this is also a question I have for all of you. I'll start with Maria and Gina about leadership lessons that you've learned through managing teams and clinicians. How do you create a culture that supports these teams in high quality care? Because you're all managing your employees, frankly.
I think you need to have clear values. If you're running a business without really understanding what are your values, for example, for us, they're very clear. It's love, kindness, and respect. And it starts with us. And that trickles down to our admin team and the admin team to the rest of the staff. And the beauty of that is that the patients walk in and they feel it.
That's a good point.
It is a feeling. So there is clarity that we treat each other with respect and we're kind, we're loving. So if we have issues, we discuss them. And it starts with Gina and I. We have never been disrespectful to each other. We have had, difficult conversations, especially at the beginning because we're blending in. But with those values in mind, those difficult conversations became easier to handle. So leadership for me have clear values.
You're setting a tone, right? Mm-hmm. Gina, do you want to add to that?
No, I think Maria really nailed it because, we treat our staff like their family and they feel that. And even if, we're not able to pay like a hospital would pay, they want to stay with us because they feel that love that we have and that we have for the patients. And they do it for, to feel good also just about themselves. Because when you're taking care of somebody who really needs it and has no other place to turn, it makes you feel good about the mission.
1,000%.
Yeah.
It really shows that you believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Kelly, do you want to add to that a little bit?
I would agree. We try to create a culture. We offer a lot of support for our therapists. So we offer weekly supervision. Usually you do that when you have a pre-licensed clinician. We offer it for everyone because people's lives are hard and difficult. Sometimes we have teens that are cutting or have to end up in a hospital, it's really heavy for a young therapist to hold by themselves. So we give 2 hours of therapy to our entire staff. I am available all the time and probably need to be better with my own boundaries. But just like for therapists that work till 9 p.m., if they had a really hard session and they have to talk about something on the way home, I want to be available to them so that they know they aren't sitting with that alone. It can be really difficult in the beginning to learn how to compartmentalize holding space for your client and holding space for yourself at the same time. So it's also modeling good practices for them.
When I'm hearing what both of your companies do, you really take care of your teams. That's what I hear, and that's huge, and that's important. Let's talk a little bit more about business owners and why should mental health be viewed as a business priority, not just a personal one? That's a good point.
There has been so much research done and over the last 15, 20 years in industrial organizational psychology on really taking care of your team, and that you will produce better work from your team if you take care of them. And I don't mean throw them a mental health day every once in a while, because I've heard that from a few of my clients that work at big business. Every other Friday, they'll get thrown a mental health day. But on the days that they aren't, they're being pounded with work and they're expected to work long hours. You have to think about someone as a full functioning human being. They have lives, they have partners, some have children, some have other dreams outside of what they're doing. Treat the person like a person. They will show up and give you their best.
I agree. I think that's really very, very true. And the three of you are clearly doing that, and it's showing in the success and growth of your businesses.
Thank you, Linda.
So Gina Maria, keeping patient privacy in mind, is there a patient story you'd like to share that truly captures the impact of FemParlor and what you're doing?
I think the best thing to describe is that when somebody comes in, it's a safe space, and they can speak with the practitioner who has, years of experience in intimate health and talk about everything that's going on with them. What we find is that we build the plan for them, the right plan that will work for them, and the emails that we're getting back are like, "You've saved my marriage. You have no idea how much more confidence I have. Thank you so much for everything that you do." I mean, we're feeling it because we're sending out like little notes to them now, and it's all coming back. It's all coming back to us tenfold of how we've actually changed these women's lives who had no place to turn. So you can't really generalize because everyone's so different, but the impact that we're making is huge.
It must feel so good to get an email like that, right?
It's beautiful.
I'd love
it's
that.
Beautiful, and I can attest to it because I'm not just the owner; I'm also a client.
And we are both clients.
Yeah, but I see the difference in my life that I really felt. And when I was having one of the procedures, I actually started to cry on the table, and one of the nurse practitioners was holding my hand, and she goes, "Does it hurt? Does it hurt?" I said, "No. Doesn't hurt." The emotion that came out of me to say, "Oh my God, there's actually an answer and a solution for my things that are happening." The emotion that came out, I just started crying.
Wow.
And that's how much was bottled up, and has been bottled up for years. And, being able to give that to women is so important.
You are personally providing your own incredible patient testimonials.
Yeah.
So. Well, this is my last but not least question, but I would love for the three of you to each share your why. What do you, and it's so clear as we've had this conversation that the three of you love what you do, and just as importantly, you believe in what you do. But what do you love most about what you're doing, and what do you see in store for the future of overall healthcare? That's a big question mark, right? Where is it headed? Where is it going? But Kelly, we'll start with you and we'll just kind of work our way through the table.
Yeah, my why is always going to be people finding their confidence and building some self-awareness. And my own personal clients have really dealt with some trauma and far surpassed it. And then they happily end up in relationships or end up as parents when they never thought they were going to be before. So personally, for me, that means a lot. I speak to a lot of parents from Pleasant Wellness Group that are really struggling with kids that are incorrectly placed in schools or that aren't given correct diagnoses, or that are just told, "He's a little boy, it's fine, don't worry about it, he'll grow out of it," and they spend years not getting proper services. when you do get proper services and your child's able to regulate, a parent will send us emails. We'll email the clinician and say, you've literally changed the dynamic in our household. We are able to do things together as a family. That's irreplaceable. You have like altered the course of happiness in that family. And I do think when it comes to future, everything you guys are talking about, the exposure, talking about this out loud and sharing it with people, I did ironically listen to a podcast from Peter Attia on the way here about women's health and HRT. So it's very ironic that we're doing this, but how he said, if your doctor says no, go find another doctor because you don't have to suffer anymore. And now we're talking about that. And I think every woman, every man that has a woman in their life needs to know this and needs to advocate for the people in their life that quietly suffer. You don't have to.
Beautifully said. I couldn't say it more perfectly. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
So let's talk about your why.
Well, I mean, I found my why again with FemPower because, like I said, I suffered for so long. And to be able to help and listen, actually listen to the women coming in and what their issues are and how they're suffering, and to be able to say, I can help you. Like, I can help you. We can help you. But the truth is, we were never able to say that before. And now we actually have proven technology and procedures that can actually help them. And that, for me, is just the end all. And for us, we're going to expand this. We're in New York City. We just moved to Stanford. And Maria and I want to take it national because this is something that's needed everywhere.
I cannot wait to watch and see this beautiful story unfold. So thank you all. Quick, your why. I don't want to forget you. Gina.
I am a limit crusher. I want to break the silence of so many pandemics that affect women. And as for those many people know that I am an advocate against sexual abuse of children. So I started with that in mind, to really break the silence and to be able to do this also in a topic that affects us and is something that we are ashamed of speaking. So for me, just breaking barriers that we have not been touching because of shame and fear. So for me, I'm a limit crusher.
Oh, I love it. And this was such a wonderful conversation. You're going to have to come back. We'll talk about this more, but thank you for sharing your experiences and what you do with our audience.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to continue with our missions.
Our pleasure.
Great.
Be sure to check out the BCW Podcast Network's expansive lineup of shows: Leadership Unleashed, What's Trending, Advocacy and Politics Unplugged, The Member Spotlight, and Nonprofit Voices of Impact. The Business Council of Westchester is the county's largest business membership organization focusing on economic development and advocacy. With over 1,100 members, it is our mission to work for the profitability of our members and the prosperity of the Westchester community. To learn more about the Business Council of Westchester, please go to thebcw.org.